All right, so worst countries for expats. First thing I'm gonna say, I'm gonna separate expats into three different categories, and only one of them is actually considered expat. But I'm gonna talk about all three. The first category I'm gonna talk about is like just the immigrant. Like you're trying to move to a country to have a new life there. That's what I consider the typical immigrant like. Second is the digital nomad. So you probably have a remote job or maybe like some sort of income, but you're not done. Like you're not rich, you're not like in your good old days when you're just like chilling. And then obviously the classical expat, which would be something like someone with a company, someone who's like fairly wealthy, who's already got a net worth and all that. Those are three types of people who are moving to different countries than the countries they're from, but they're moving for very different reasons. Obviously they're all looking for better quality of life, because that's what we're all looking for, but I think their necessities are very different, so I'm going to talk about each of them kind of separately. All right. And Daniel, who are you to rank countries based on how good they are for expats and all that? And that's a good question actually. Like, so I have lived in a bunch of countries, but and I've also been to a bunch of countries. I've been to like 40 countries, I think now, and I've lived in maybe 6 or 7 for periods like of significant periods of time. But yeah, I wouldn't consider myself an authority in that sense. I think I mostly talk out of just being a giant nerd and researching lots of things. So if you don't believe my research, it's also fine. Like, I'm not going to be mad at you. All right? Cheers. So for immigration, and I would say most people who are immigrants are people from more emerging or developing economies. So like Colombia or Brazil or India or China, or countries that don't offer that good of a quality of life if you're just working a normal job in that country. And I think the best countries to immigrate to from those countries, honestly, I think number one is Australia, which is a country I'm in right now, just because the wages to cost of living is like insane. Like I can live in a 2-bedroom house and paying whatever, 2K a month in rent or something like that, and then work a minimum wage job and make 4K a month or 5K a month. No, well, if it's 5K, it's not minimum wage, but there are jobs that pay really well. They're very basic. The hourly wages are insane, and even though things are expensive, they're like very easily like compensated by the wages here. Also, it's like good weather most of the year. So many immigrants, like 30% of the population is immigrant, so you're gonna fit right in. And yeah, I think Australia would probably be the number one best country for people who are immigrants. Then the worst country for people who are immigrants, I would say, it's probably like some of the Middle Eastern countries. Just because I haven't been, but I have heard that the wage and labor conditions in like Qatar and Saudi Arabia and the UAE are really, really rough, and that sometimes people get kind of trapped in there. So I think that would probably be my last option. But for just classical immigration, yeah, I think Australia would be number one. Some parts of Europe, I think Germany has managed to give interesting opportunities to immigrants. Ireland has managed it as well. The US, in an extent, if you go legally, I think you're pretty well off. If you go illegally, I think it's going to be a bit rough for you. But yeah, that's my view on like just typical immigration. Now, if you're like a digital nomad and you have like some money, some income, but you're not rich, then honestly, the best countries for expats is just like lower cost of living countries. That's very much of a given. I would say Southeast Asia. I think Vietnam might be the best bang for your buck right now. Again, haven't been, but from what a couple of friends who I met during my travels tell me, I really, really want to go. Like, you can really just go out for a great 3-course meal and have like 150 as a bill, like literally be charged that much. So it's insane. It's really insane. I think Bali might be a little bit overrated, and Bangkok and all that, just because, well, do you really just want to meet everyone from your own culture? Like, that's kind of boring. You go to a country that's a little bit more edgy, more off the radar, and you get to have a little bit more of local experience, a little bit cheaper. It might be nicer. Also Eastern Europe, so out of the countries I've been, I think Romania would be something I would definitely consider. Bosnia, Albania, not Montenegro that much, and then maybe Hungary, Budapest. If you have a EU passport, it might be a very interesting option for you as well. And then the worst are just expensive countries. Honestly, Switzerland, I think it would be terrible to go to Switzerland as a digital nomad. Ireland, the UK, France, those would be just like downright terrible options to go. Italy, I think, would still be a good one, as long as you don't get sucked into the tax system, because they definitely have a lot of taxes there. But yeah, I think the worst ones would be those, and maybe like it's not that often that you see it, but yeah, if you're a digital nomad and you're in like Canada or Australia, I think, what are you doing? Like, you go there for the wages. You don't go there for the best bang for your buck. You go there to earn the wages. So if you don't need to be there to earn a good wage, I think it would be interesting for you to leave, unless you want to like start a family or something. And then for high level expats and that kind of thing, I think the best countries, I would possibly put Switzerland as one of those countries, because those people, maybe they're looking a little bit more into settling down, and they still want like a Western vibe to it, and they don't really care that much about the prices, because like the more money you make, the less the prices bother you, and the more the taxes bother you, right? So then Switzerland does have some interesting tax regime, and it is expensive, but if you're the typical expat that's well off, I don't think you would mind that much. So that's something I would guess. Yeah, I guess I would consider. What else? Maybe Dubai, just a typical like Dubai kind of vibe, but though I don't think I would like it that much. I still want to go, but I don't think I would ever live there really. Yeah, maybe some country outside of the EU, like in East Europe, but outside of the EU might be interesting as well, if you want like a little bit of a European vibe, but still match that with lower prices. Yeah, let me think. Italy, I think might be a good one as well. They have like a lump sum tax, and then honestly, you have near levels of infrastructure, like near Western Europe, like near France, near the UK, near Switzerland. Not quite as good, of course, but still very good. And you're very well connected, and cheap flights everywhere. You're right in the middle of Europe. So if you want like Switzerland, but a little bit less costly, maybe if you go to like Milan or Lake Como, you might have a similar experience. And then the worst countries for those types of expats, well, unless you're from those countries, like I wouldn't like. If I'm Canadian, I might just stay in Canada because I'm Canadian, but I would never move to Canada as an expat, because why would you just get sucked into that tax system? Same for France, same for Australia. America, not so much. Like, taxes aren't that high, and it has like a lot of entrepreneurship potential, so it would still be kind of interesting. But yeah, I wouldn't go to, like, if I was an expat and I wasn't originally from those countries, I would never go to France or Canada or Australia, or even the UK. Honestly, I'm not sure that I would. I mean, I might, because London is just such an amazing kind of vibe, but otherwise I don't think I would. But yeah, there you go, you have it.